Welcome to another episode of the Holistic Life Podcast. This one's very special
Nope,
because
nope,
we're.
nope, nope, nope,
Wait,
nope, nope,
what's
nope,
going
nope,
on?
nope, nope, nope. Just because we're on video,
Oh my God.
can't do the intro any different. People look for the intro.
But it's on YouTube as well. And so I'm
So,
like,
consistency is king.
B-roll.
Queen.
Whatever.
Queen.
Consistency is
Okay.
royalty.
Okay, fine. Wiki. Better?
Yep.
You usually hate my intros.
I do, but I've come to expect them. So,
All right. Well, I'm Jenny. Oh my God, it drives me crazy when he doesn't say his name. He's Jay. And we are here on a very special episode. You've already heard another voice. Like if you're watching, you're seeing the other voice in person. But if you're listening, you're hearing another voice and laughter because we actually have a special guest on today to chat with us a bit. Her name is Jen Shulak of Weirdo Weddings and Pink Light Images. And we most recently finished working together. So we wanted to bring her on to share her amazingness and her brilliance and share a little bit about what her journey was like and some of the amazing growth points that she had during our time together. So Jen, welcome.
Hey, holla.
She knows.
she's worked with us.
Yeah, I know the holla tagline.
I know, wasn't it? So Jen, tell a little bit about yourself. I mean, I only gave like a brief intro. Tell a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm
I'm Jen. I am a lead wedding photographer for Weirdo Weddings, but I'm also a conceptual artist with Pink Light Images, and I have this great bounce between the worlds of weddings and the world of the arts. And I just love photography as a medium for expression, be it with couples or be it with myself. And I have found that this particular creative medium also helps me connect with myself and with other people. So that's kind of what I do in a nutshell. It's, there's so many ways I could go with that, but that's basically what I am. It's what I do. It's what I am.
That's awesome. No, and you're so creative. I mean, we met on Clubhouse. So,
Oh my gosh, yes.
which is cool because like on Clubhouse you go and it's all audio, right? And you just hear everybody's voices and you see their picture. And Jen, because of her pink hair, you always knew which one Jen was in the room, right? Because it was very easy to be able to.
And it got to the point where if there was another Jen in the room, you were lovely known as Pink Hair Jen.
Yes.
Soon to be and Pink Hair Jen LLC. I don't know, whatever the new business name will be.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Because of Clubhouse and the Wedding Pros, y'all have helped me start an offshoot brand of Pink Hair Jen. I literally bought the domain within 30 minutes of my friends discussing that, and I was like, oh, pinkhairjen.com does not sound like a bad idea, so I got it.
Awesome. I love it. Oh, it's so cool. So share a little bit about we were all hanging out in Clubhouse together, and what made you say, you know what, I want to talk to the Hollas? Like, how did that all happen?
What was great about Clubhouse for me is that I realized in the journey of Clubhouse how much I loved listening to real live conversation and also participating in the conversation. So as I got to know so many people of, sharing their ideas and sharing their perspectives, and you guys would hop in and talk about your wellness business journey and how you're wanting to work with burned out wedding pros or wedding pros that are needing the next level, the level up, right? The more that we hosted rooms together and co-hosted rooms together, the more I knew that I needed somebody in my corner for the next phase of my life. And because I'd already spoken with you guys so often when we hosted rooms together, it was just a nice, comfortable fit. Because I think the two of you together is so much fun and you play off each other very well. And so I felt comfortable hiring you to be kind of like in my corner for 4 to 5 months or so, that I knew something was coming. I just didn't know what. And so I went with my gut and I was like, you know what? The Hollas need to be a part of this. I need to level up something in my life right now. And then I took that next step with you guys, and I definitely don't regret it at all. It was wonderful. The conversations kind of continued and got deeper as I shared my pain points, right? And the things that I might have been mentally or emotionally struggling with. We were able to talk things out and kind of have some action steps to move forward that were tangible, that I could actually put into action right away. And as we know, we all have different languages and the way we receive information. And I feel like I have my own language, the way I talk. And y'all were able to mirror back my own language to me and say, this is what I'm hearing. And I was like, well, this is what I'm saying. You know, it was so great to have that mirroring, because that, to me as a person, I like to know somebody's actually listening to me. And if I'm struggling with something, I needed somebody to listen. And for that season of my life, I was definitely coming up against a couple of walls that I was really just floundering just a little bit. I was trying to be in so many different places at once that I had forgotten to kind of like zone down a little bit, calm down a little bit. And y'all were kind of like the dueling factors and like kind of like bringing me down to a little bit of more reality. And just getting to the nitty gritty of the things that I was actually dealing with versus the things I thought I was dealing with.
Mhm.
And can I go ahead and say one of the most profound things that came out of our meetings was,
No, you can't.
can I say?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, please.
You got me with that. You see me jump out of my seat. Like, anybody who's listening didn't see it.
He says it with a big smile on his face, by the way, if you're listening to this. If you've been around Jay long enough, you'll know. Even on Clubhouse, I'm sure you can tell if he's smiling or not. One of the biggest factors I took out was, and this is, I'm going to take this with me for a while, is learning to be a detective. And for so long in my life, it was easy to get caught up in the emotion and just have a list of things of why I felt that way. It wasn't really taking a step back and kind of analyzing the situation from a non-emotional perspective. And so I think Jenny and I, we talked about, we're like being detectives. Or what did I say? I figured there was something else rhymey that I said. I don't remember what it was. But basically a detective on what was going on in my life and looking at it from, that was what it was, an objective detective.
Oh, yes. I remember.
So just to remove myself from the situation and look at it as an observer. And I will forever take that with me, because I am highly emotional and I am sometimes highly reactive. And I needed to take a step back in this time of my life and actually analyze what was really going on versus what I thought was going on. And thankfully, that has been a skill. And believe me, this is a learned skill. It is not something you just turn on and off. But I feel like that's a skill that I can take away with me that I got from working with you guys. And I think we can all benefit from that kind of thing. But for me in particular, that was what was really, really helpful for me.
I got a question, because when you first came in, and this usually is what happens, right? You were please correct me if I'm wrong. You were focused on more of yes, wellness, but in the physical sense. You know what I'm saying? You were counting calories, you were wanting to get back in the gym or whatever, and that's usually the gate people come into the holistic mansion in, right? It's like, oh, the wellness gate. It's like we have all these other gates. No, I like the wellness gate. The wellness gate is the one I want to come in, right? And after we got started, it became, like you just said, stepping back and being that objective detective. It became I don't want to downplay it and say less of that, but it was more of this is a red flag, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So what are the other things that are triggering this? You know, it could be like burnout, because a lot of people don't understand, you know, it's just like, oh, I've gained weight, I gotta eat differently, I gotta go to the gym, and they don't look at the factors that's causing, you know, if you're overindulging. Why are you overindulging? Because you're stressed out, you're anxious, you're struggling at home, you're struggling at work. And it's like, it's not the weight. The weight is the outcome of the thing. So it's digging down and finding what the thing is and attacking the thing. And sometimes the outcome we go to, like going more to the gym or eating differently, if you tweak the thing or work on the thing, everything else will start to fall in place.
Yeah, and I think when I first signed up, I knew that there was definitely more than the physical, even though the physical was a catalyst. just because I was like, oh, it'd be so nice to have accountability and wellness people in my corner on that too. But then I was like, as things morphed and changed, which I'm sure there were several things I came in here with, but as things morphed and changed, yeah, I'm a package. Uh, I realized towards the end of my journey with you is that I'm more stressed out than I wanted to admit. But I actually didn't know. Like, I didn't take that version of my life and really use my detective skills on that. But it's when I'm removed from my normal everyday life that you can actually look at your life and say, oh,
Right.
I am actually stressed in these areas. But until you walk away from it, you wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, at least me. This is me. This is my story.
Right.
But when I walked away for a week and went to Arizona, and then, I was like, wow, I feel so much lighter here. Like, it's not just because, and then I'm like, but I'm back home and I'm like, wait, okay, these 4 to 5 things are what are like stressing me out. These are my stressors, and they're going to be there the whole time. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner. Those are 3 stressors.
Right.
Yeah, you can't just
That's
pluck all those
3.
out.
That's 3 out of 4 or 5, but however many stressors that you have in your life, like I realized when I came home that I hadn't been enough of a detective in those particular areas because it was frustrating me that I went away for a week and actually ate really well and nicely, and I walked every day. And then I lost 3 pounds coming home. And I was like, wait, I've been struggling to do anything at home and doing all this eating and doing all this detective work, but not realizing it took me to leave and really come back to cease to actually just get that little red flag to address. And I love that I had the tools to be able to do that and share that with you. Because now I'm like taking action with how I can translate that to my home space now. It's not that I don't have a wonderful, beautiful home. It's that I have not created a safe oasis away from the 3 stressors.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's just say it for me, 3 stressors that are on the top of my head.
Right.
And so just so y'all can get some amazing follow-up with this is that I have started creating an oasis in my backyard. I don't care if it's 105 degrees right now, but I'm making it right now because when it gets beautiful outside, I'm going to have a fountain. I'm going to have little rock creatures. I'm going to have little mushroom houses. I'm going to have a space that's specifically for me to enjoy because I do love nature, but not every day I can hike. I just can't. I have to drive everywhere. But the fact of the matter is the tools and techniques that I use this last little bit of months, I am translating it into another action plan to translate my stressors, and address my stressors and find those ways to decompress that doesn't involve me being in my house.
Yeah.
And so I was finding compromises, and I was like, at this point, my husband's like, he's starting to help me. He's like, we should get some lights for you. And I was like, yeah, we should get some lights. And I was like, so he was really in on it too. And I think it made a difference when I shared that with him. And I just started going to the dollar store and collecting things so I could have this space that I'm creating. And
awesome.
I think tonight, me and Miracle will put some stuff together and do some rocks. I bought these riverbed rocks that are really cool and they're smooth and they're colorful and that's something I can play with. Like, think of it like a toddler, right? Toddlers don't have any cares in the world. Honestly, they can do their puzzles, they can play with toys and not a stress in the world. But I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what does that look like for me?
Yeah.
I was like, these cute little rocks, why not?
I love it. I am so excited for you because, one thing I've really come to realize after being a nomad and traveling around the country and all these different homes and spaces that we stay in is how important our environment is to us. And it may sound so simple. It's such a simple thing, but like you said, you get used to your environment and you just accept it as is, yet we are able to create the spaces that support us. Because why on earth sit and cause yourself more suffering for no reason? But you have to be aware that you are suffering. Like self-awareness, I think, is a huge thing that you discovered even more of. Like you grounded even more into who Pink Hair Jen is, who Jen Shulak is, who you are as a person. And that was something that I witnessed throughout the whole time as like how much you really continued to embrace who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. It was part of the journey that I needed to be on for this season coming up. And this, as you know, the things that came up in between this opportunity with Sony was incredible. But I had to have the headspace for it. You know, you have to have the headspace and the heart space to work through something like that and be able to be authentic and raw with people and put yourself on display in a way and know it's okay if not everybody likes you. And I've spent so many years of my life being that people pleaser where I think that's a lot of the times where my stressors come in too, is the people pleasing of my community or the people pleasing of my fellow wedding pros or my clients. There's just so much things that of energy going out that didn't have to go out. And so I'm so glad that I was able to stop and just analyze that as well. And that's the self-awareness for sure. Like coming into this next season, I think it was about halfway in between our sessions, I was like, why am I doing all of this? Why? I'm literally asking myself, like, what is the end game with this? What is the end result that's coming? Well, I'm just going to be more stressed out. Okay. No, I can't keep living the ultra stressed out life and the super running around on a hamster wheel. And I was like, all that stuff just takes me in circles anyway. And I don't want to stay in the circles. I want to keep going on the path.
Right.
So, it was just so great to finally have that little switch turn on to where now I can analyze if I'm doing something for somebody else versus me. And that's not saying it's a selfish thing, but it is a protection of my energy too. Like there's only so much I can do.
Yeah. And we talked a lot about that, especially how important it is for you to be mindful of your energy and be able to communicate with others in a way that still honors you and them and allows you to embrace who you are and what your needs are. And that was something I learned from Jay.
Yeah.
And watching what he does when he embraces his energy, that as we work together, I'm so glad that you took all that, you know what I'm saying, into difficult situations. Like, for example, like you said, recording the Sony thing. You had to practice that there. You had to practice it with family. You had to practice it with at the week-long seminar you went to. Like you had moments to practice so that you could embrace who you were and break out of the people pleasing, break out of the continuing, like you said, to put the stress,
the need to be everywhere, everything. Have you seen that movie, The Everything Everywhere All at Once? Because that's how we feel, right? I mean, it's like, okay, we literally cannot be in every time zone. In every situation and every outcome. We can't be there. That's not how we're designed. We're not time travelers like that. We're not sci-fi stories. We're humans. And I think for every individual, it's good to sit down and take a minute to assess where you are and get some help if you need it, because that's the only way and there's so many people, you guys know this, there's so many people that just won't ask for help or seek help.
Yeah.
And I just knew that going forward with where I'm going, I had to have some help and I had to have some insight and I had to have some healing happen so I could keep moving forward. And I was like, the last thing I want to do is be stuck in a pit or go backwards. Those two things, I don't want to do those two things. I want to keep going forward. Maybe a pothole here and there, but I don't want to be stuck in a pit and having to scream at people to please pull me up. I put myself in a pit.
Right. You said something earlier about not realizing how much stress you had and like where you were at in that moment. Yes. And that reminded me, because today we just listened to a podcast where it was talking about a lot of entrepreneurs live their lives in this like perpetual, like busy, always on, always working, hustle culture, stress cycle. And they don't always realize it because this has become their norm. And in some ways too, it becomes a way for them to avoid the stuff in the life.
Ooh. That's a whole other topic that I am witnessing constantly. I'm around a lot of people. And what I've noticed is if you keep yourself busy, you never have to deal with your stuff. And sometimes dealing with your stuff, you have to stop. And people don't want to stop, so they don't have to deal with their stuff. So that's the endless cycle of let's not deal with our stuff and keep doing what works or what seems to be working. until one day you get the call that you have a disease in your body, or one day you get the call and so is this and so is that, and you don't have the capacity to handle it because you're already overwhelmed. And there's only so much that our bodies can take, and there's only so much our mind can take. I mean, that's what we're not robots. We're not artificial intelligences. We're not circuit boards and Wi-Fi. And I think people forget that they're actually human. And I was just talking about this today when some people are like, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And I was like, but can you? But can you? Like, these are the questions that I ask myself. Sometimes it's just a little step that takes you to a giant leap forward. And unfortunately, so much of our culture is afraid to shut down and take a tiny little step towards a little bit of peace. And I think there's so many people that love the chaos so much that they will never stop, and they'll never see it. And then they'll wear themselves out, and then they'll die an early age, or they'll die unhappy. And I think a lot of a lot of us are realizing now that we actually want to be happy.
Yeah. And that's as we've continued to like get clearer and clearer on our message and what we do and how we serve. I mean, what it all comes to is helping professionals who are sick of the day in, day out hustle and grind find and connect to more fulfillment, more peace, more joy, more happiness. And we do that with our Redefined Life blueprint. And so it's all of this has developed as well, like through working with you and then beyond, right? Like we used a lot of these tools with you, but you didn't know that they were called this name because we were like developing the names, right? Because it's like we're taking the 8 dimensions of life and helping people become a detective and helping people recognize where the stress is and ultimately find more fulfillment. Because a lot of times what we find is people may have the things, they have, especially you and I can probably think of some of the same people we know who have the things. They have the money, they have the jobs, they have the career, they have the business, they have the things, but they're not happy. And some of them will never admit it out loud. And those aren't our people, but when they're ready to admit it and they're ready for something deeper, that's like what you just said is like, that's the core of what we want to do. That's the core of who we want to help level up and shape and pour into, like help them live their best life, rock their lifestyle, help them, I don't know, all the words that are coming to mind are all the cliche words, but then they're also very true because who doesn't want to live an amazing life that's full of happiness and love and peace and fulfillment?
And I think when you said it was called Redefined
Life Blueprint.
Redefined Life.
Oh, realigned. Oh my God.
Realigned.
Realigned.
You know what? But redefined is not a bad idea, because what I'm going with in my brain right now is that we actually can define our life in so many different parameters. Like when I talk about, we've had many discussions on defining success. Okay, what does that look like for you? Define your life. What does that look like for you? Where do you find your happiness? What things and what people bring you the most joy, the most challenges, whatever. Like I like having all the things. A lot of the things I talked about in the episode I did with Sony was confronting the things and facing the fears. But if you don't ever stop long enough to do that, you never will. And then you'll just keep on going. Right. So I really love that you can define and redefine consistently what your life can look like and what you can live.
Yeah. So the process that we have defined is we define, we design, and we align.
There you go.
So, and I mean, we really did a lot of that with you as well. We just didn't say those words.
And honestly, we decided on the realignment because that's where the work is.
Yes.
It really is.
And the realigning.
Yeah.
Because, after you define what success looks like for you, what fulfillment looks like, or what those things don't look like, and then like you're designing your blueprint. Okay, so if this is your definition, what does that look like? These are the action steps. Let's put a game plan into place. And then like the alignment is like, okay, a dream is just a dream until you put action to it.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we got big picture on this, right? You mark down the steps, or we're gonna help you create the action steps. Now you got to do the work.
Mm-hmm. And that's where the detective work comes in, the self-discovery, the habits, the shifting, the practice, the uncomfortable stuff,
the stuff that you have to face.
Yeah.
Yep, the stuff that you have to look at and it's the hard stuff. And I really hope anybody listening out there right now, the hard work is actually worth it, because you're going to find yourself much more free. You're going to have less stress on your body. Like, you'll have physical things come off of your body. Like, maybe your massage therapist is telling you, dang, you got like a tight old knot up here and it's just not ever going away. And you're like, have you ever thought about dropping some of your baggage, like dropping some of your emotional baggage, or the stressors that you're carrying that are not yours to carry? And that's a lot of what I've been learning and unpacking, per se. Like, think about it like this too. Like, we're unpacking so much of this scenario right here. Working with the Hollas for me was literally unpacking and then being a detective. What did I have in my bag? What do I need to
What the hell is this?
I mean, those of us that love travel, what do you have in your bag? Think about all the things. I'm an overpacker. I'm raising my hand right now. I'm an overpacker in general. So can you imagine somebody who's an overpacker in physical realm, but sometimes is an overpacker in her like emotional and connection and relationships, whatever. I might be an overpacker or an over anything, but the fact is I have the choice and the availability to unpack it.
Right.
And it makes my life so much lighter now than what it was 6 months ago, and even a year ago to 2 years ago, when it was the heaviest season of so many of our lives in 2020, that we all had no choice but to sit and unpack a couple of things. Mm-hmm. For those of us, some of us kind of had to, and some of us still had to work even more.
Right.
Yeah.
But some of us are getting to a place now, I've noticed, that we're kind of leveling out a little bit, where we do have a little bit more time to actually take time, but we're still caught up in that, well, I can't take time. I was like, actually, you can. You're getting, if you have a full-time job and you're got 3 weeks vacation and you've taken 1 day for the whole year,
Yeah.
You might want to think about that. You might want to rethink it, redefine that.
I love this quote where it's like, or it might be an old Chinese proverb or whatever, but it's like, the moment you let go of control is the moment you start to control everything.
Ooh.
Because once you realize you control nothing, the only thing you really control is how you react to things. And then it's a whole switch. So things that used to piss you off before, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it's cool, whatever. And you just readjust. And it's just like, you're controlling your reality. You know, you're the one in the driver's seat. You're the captain.
You brought up a really, really great point, because there is a release that happens with this process, and that means releasing what you think you have control over, and that's really helped me a lot. That's another stressor, by the way. If for those control freaks out there, if you didn't realize that already, that's kind of another stressor.
I love when we have people like you on, because we can, it's funny, we were just recording some podcast episodes this week and we're like, did we already say this like a million times in our podcast? We feel like we've said a lot of the same things in different ways with different stories and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so it's always great when people like you come on and share your story and share your perspective, because it's not just the Hollas saying, oh, wake up and listen. It's other people who have gone through it as well. And I was just listening to a guy today who was on his 800th podcast episode, and he's like, well, I've already told you this 750 ways. I don't know how else to tell you. So let me my clients tell you. Maybe you'll hear it now. Maybe you'll hear it now from them.
I do have to say that also, I mentioned that in the episode I filmed with Sony about, we can put out content, we can have conversations, we can tell somebody something 50 times, but until they actually have their receiving antennas on, or the revelation factor, it's just going to stay the same. And I think for everybody, it's different. Like I could get something from somebody, 500 miles away on a podcast, but my husband will be right here telling me the same exact thing, and sometimes it depends on where you are, and it depends on who the voice is or how it is said that really can shake your world up in the best way possible, as long as you're ready to receive it. And I think that's kind of how I ended my episode. I was like, some of y'all going to watch this and you're not going to get it right away. Some of y'all are going to get some of this and then run off and do it. And then some of y'all are going to still be in that confused zone of like, well, I'm not quite sure what she said. Let me just sit on that for a while. And I got to be honest, for those of y'all that do sit on stuff for a while, that's okay too, because sometimes that revelation needs a little bit of time to stew in you. But I think if the end result hopefully is your freedom to move forward, ultimately that's my hopes for anybody listening that needs that next level, that needs that next step. Because you can have something said 50 times, but until it actually gets down in there and you understand the impact it has on you, then it'll be a different time for everything and everyone. So
it's kind of like when you tell somebody they have a problem. It's like, you think they have
no, I don't.
Right. It's not a problem until they say it's a problem.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. And and we actually sat down a couple of nights ago and we got in somebody's face. Believe it or not, that happens every once in a while with really dear friends, and we're getting in people's faces and we're like, this is an issue. And maybe it's been an issue for 15 years, but we're laying our foot down and we're stomping our foot and looking in your face. And I was like, maybe you'll understand. Maybe they won't, maybe they will. But I got to tell you, sometimes it's okay to confront your friends every once in a while, especially if they trust you. Yep. Or have a trust with you. And I think that's also important too, when you're looking to move forward in your life, is finding some people that you can trust to move you forward or challenge you if you're ready for the challenge. Yep. But yeah, I'm sitting here like, wow, I've just had conversations this week that have been so impactful, just because people are moving and shaking right now and they want to be free, but they're still on the fence. Mm-hmm. Occasionally. And I'm like, yeah, but it's so much cooler on the other side. If we just come over to the other side.
Yeah.
Just let go.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. What advice would you give to anybody who's watching this or listening, if they are on the fence with maybe talking to us, considering working with us, or even just reaching out on Instagram and saying hi?
That's yeah. Hello. Whatever communication avenue that you're comfortable with, start with that, because a lot of us don't we want to be all emailing. We're not, some of us are like a little quieter, depending on if we know you or not. But here's the thing that I found about Jenny and Jay is that they are approachable. And I think the best advice I could give for anybody seeking right now is to just do the consultation call. You'll know immediately if you click with them or not. And if there's some things that you've listened to on their podcast that really resonate with you, then message them about that particular subject and kind of like have an open door of communication to sit down with them and say, hey, I might be struggling with this particular thing. In your consultation call, I bet you find oh, it's really not that thing, but it could be this thing, or it is that thing, and they have a plan for you to help you. So the best advice I can give is literally just reach out in the best avenue that is good for your comfort zone, but don't be afraid to ask questions as well, because I think working with the Hollas, you're gonna know right away if they're the right fit for you. They definitely were for me. So, because I had to, get to know them just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to know y'all in live conversation. So I think that did make a difference that I heard y'all in live conversation and banter and all the things that come with wellness minded people and people living out that nomadic life where you all were for a while, and kind of sharing your insights was just very helpful from a person looking in to y'all's life.
No, I appreciate that. That's very helpful. And, it's like when you're a creator, I think that sometimes, when people see people on YouTube or hear people on podcasts, they feel like they're so far away and so unreachable. when I bet you at least 80%, it's just a guess, of like podcast creators and YouTube creators would be happy to receive an email saying, hey, I enjoyed your content. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That these people live on the moon and they don't want to talk to us and don't have time for us. And at least with us, that's not the case.
Basically,
yeah, I was gonna.
What you see is what you get. What you get.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, our culture these days, we don't even stop long enough to say hello to anybody anymore, right? So it's like the more that we can stop and just take a minute to say, hey, that really meant something to me, or hey, how are you doing? I mean, that's just, we need to be more vigilant about connection with other people. And I think the more the digital age tries to take over, the more we actually need to connect human to human. So I know it's a never ending race, but oh my God, this is a human race, y'all, people. Human race. It's a digital race.
This has been so fun. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thanks for coming on. We're excited to see you continue to like blossom and grow, and like you have so many amazing things ahead of you.
I'm excited.
So yes.
Yay.
And for those of you who can't see what's happening, and if you want to see what's happening, you got to come to our YouTube page. And Jay's dancing and making all kinds of fun things on the video. So all that
never-ending entertainment.
All right. Well, we hope you have a great day. Thank you guys for listening to the episode. Jen, is there one last thing you want to say before we sign off? Any final parting thoughts?
Jen, where can people come find you?
Where can they find me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I really love my little Instagrams, even though like it's not the cool place to be right now, but I really do love my little Instagrams at Weirdo Weddings and at Pink Light Weddings. But if you're looking for something crazy conceptual, you can go to Pink Light Images Official. And that has got a lot of my crazy conceptual work on there that is very deep and thought-provoking. And if you need a little bit of weddings or a little bit of art, I've got both worlds, and they're both my world, obviously. But you can also, I've invited you into my world. So at Weirdo Weddings, at Pink Light Weddings, and at Pink Light Images Official.
Oh, perfect! I love that.
Pink Limages. I did just put it all together.
Don't screw everybody else up.
Yeah. Don't confuse people.
I know. Come on now. I know. I'm giving you a hard time. This is what we do. No. Oh no, he senses.
I don't look cute.
Oh, everybody give Jay a hug right now. Virtual hugs right now.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye.